I have some questions, really. I just have some questions. Like, what is objective morality? How do I know something is good and something is bad? Where does that come from? It's good to know, because the standards of society seem to continue to change on what's good or bad. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. We don't really know what's good or bad. We're just trying to figure it out. But how do we know? Is it society standards? Is there an objective morality? And if there's an objective morality, is there a God? And does God put objective morality onto us? And where did I come from? And how do I have consciousness? And how am I aware of the world? Where did all this stuff come from? I don't know. I don't really know the answer to them. But what I want to do is I want to discover what other people have said about these topics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a couple, just hold on to this thing, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to read a couple books. I want to read like all the religious texts and maybe meditations or some philosophy books and try to get to the bottom of it. Can you get to the bottom of it, or is it just is there a bottom? Is there an objective truth? Is there a reality? But let's see. What I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read one of these books. So I'm going to read, this is the New Oxford Annotated Bible. Good thing about these books, and the second one is called the Clear Qur'an. It has bookmarks, but they're not my bookmarks, so I'm going to take them out. It's not my book, but borrowing it. And I want to read both, and I want to figure out if there's objective morality and like what are the similarities and differences. The way I look at these religions or belief systems is they're so similar to one another, but for some reason they're not. And I don't really know much about these religions. I'm just like some guy from Canada trying to figure it out. So I think it'd be a good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide which book I'm going to read first, and I'm going to try to understand them. And it's going to be fun. So it's going to be the Bible, it's going to be the Quran, it's going to be the Berbagai Gita, and I also want to read like an atheist kind of book. But I feel like I've been taking in atheist style propaganda for so long that I'm not sure when I want to do that. Maybe I'll read, I know like Richard Dawkins, I think that's his name. He has the God delusion. So maybe I'll read that. While I'm reading it, it'd be cool to like just discover these thoughts. And if people want to come along on this journey, that would be fun. We could be on this journey together. And if anybody wants to teach me something, teach me something. I don't know anything about this stuff. Actually, while I'm here, I might as well say this and kind of talk about it. One of the things that brought me towards what I got these things in for, one of the things that brought me towards Islam, or reading the Quran, just brought me towards it, reading the Quran, trying to understand like why I'm here, is just understanding that this universe is an objective experience and our subjective lenses can't filter out everything, and we don't even know what we're filtering. For example, how many shades of colors, how many types of colors are there in front of you that you can't see? How many molecules are there in the table in front of you, like right in front of you, that you can't see? So what that means is that your experience of the world, of the objective universe, is set up through a subjective field of your lenses, yeah? So your eyes, your ears, your nose, your senses, essentially, right? But then you also have like, I'll tell you one thing that's really strange about humans, really, really weird. If someone's staring at you from the side, you can sense them staring at you. Now, tell me which sense that is. In other words, we have a bunch of subjective senses in an objective universe, and that's how we're able to see the universe. But that doesn't mean that the universe is subjective, and it also doesn't mean that we don't know what's affecting our, it's that we don't know what's affecting our subjective experiences. So if you look around at society, If you look around at what's happening, at the society's falling apart, single motherhood rate through the roof, drug and addiction through the roof. One of the cities in Toronto that I'm from, it's like one of these small towns. They actually had a state of emergency because the population there was on so much drugs. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? I would say it's because people lack meaning, one. Two, what are they doing? What are they listening to? So if you believe in evil itself, and I believe that if you believe that the devil is a whisperer that whispers in your ear, it whispers to people who are weak on the inside. And how are people weak on the inside? When they don't have meaning. So those people are being whispered to. What are they being whispered to do? You want to find out? Very easy. Open one of your music apps and go to the 2024 hip hop playlist. Play the song. Maybe play it without music, without the beat in the background. What's happening with those beats is it's putting your mind in a trance. I don't even want to say the lyrics. I grew up on the lyrics. I grew up on hip hop. I grew up on it. I can't even say the lyrics. It's going into your subjective experience. Now, I'm not going to say music is good or bad, or what you see is good or bad, but what are you viewing with your eyes? What are you viewing with your eyes when you shouldn't? What are you listening to with your ears? And you wonder why you don't have meaning. You wonder why when you look around, everything's falling apart. They're putting a spell on you. They're putting a spell on you with this music, affecting your subjective experience until you believe that the subjective experience that they're preaching to you through their music is your actual thoughts. And then before you know it, you start speaking like them. And before you start speaking like them, you start talking like them. And then all of a sudden, you start behaving in those manners, and then society falls apart. Very controversial, I'm sure. I'm sure. But is there another way? Is there, again, I will say it again, is there a straight path? Because I know that's not it. I know that's not it. I know that disrespecting women, talking about killing each other, doing drugs, I think they're brainwashing you. I think they're brainwashing you. I think they're brainwashing you with this stuff inside your brain, and it's terrible. Because I have a family, I have nieces, I have nephews, and I worry about them. But then again, I was listening to that music, but where did I go? Off to the wrong path. And what happens is, if you looked at my last video, I talked about how human beings tend to be in like an exploratory phase from like 12 to like 23, and that's when you can see like young men are wild. I was way more wild back then than I am now. I just work. I just work and do this. I was way more wild. How did that happen? How did I become wild? Why my exploratory phase, I was interacting with things on my subjective experience that I didn't know what they were doing to my mind. So clearly, guys, I'm going on an intellectual and spiritual journey. I wasn't sure what I'd start with before, but I'll start with the Qur'an. So this is the copy that I have. It's called the Clear Qur'an. I'm sure you can order one, or you can go to your local mosque and find one. If you want to join me on this journey, that would be cool, because I'm going through this. And all I ask is this: if I say something, I want to build a community here, and the community will be people that kind of just want to be on the spiritual journey. I'm not right. I don't know anything. I'm just reading this book, and I'll be reading other books as well. What I ask is, if I say something that doesn't make sense, please correct me. Put it in the comments. Tell me, hey, this doesn't make sense. Or if I say something that you want to maybe add something to, or I don't understand something, add into the comments. Tell me what's up. I read it. I want to see what's happening there.